Hey, what's up guys? Prepping Dad coming to you from the mountains with part 2 of the Walther PDP Pro SD Compact. That's right, this is the compact version, even though like I said before, it feels like a full size. I'd like to touch on different points of this handgun, starting with the grip and the first shots. I have put now 675 rounds through this handgun, and it finally starting to feel like home. At first, my first impression in the beginning, during the first few rounds, I was a little bit disappointed because when I gripped the gun at the gun store, it felt like it melted on my hands. Relax, it's not loaded, plus no one ever got shot through a camera, bruh. So anyways, going back, when I held it at the gun store, and it still holds, it's like, whoa, this is just like became part of my hands. When I started shooting it for the first time, I started to feel that something was digging on the meaty part of my palm, right there on the base of my palm, and it started to get red. I thought at first that I was riding the slide release or the slide lock, however you want to call it. But no, it's just the texture in the mag release button. Is a really nice diameter and large, but as I was shooting, I could feel metal the grip this started to get red. And that threw me off. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh man, this is a big bummer. This is not feeling good in my hands. Let's take a look at the first magazine, and you're gonna see me adjust my support hand a little bit. You're gonna see me do this while I'm shooting the first magazine. Let's take a look. Walther PDP Pro SD with a flush fit mag, first rounds. As you can see in that video, I was adjusting my grip a couple times, and it's because I started to feel the texture, the mag release button, and maybe a little bit of the slide lock just digging on my skin on the meaty part of the base of my palm right there. Which brings me to the next issue. This handgun is a little bit snappier than other full-size handguns. Let's say, for instance, the Glock 17. When you shoot a Glock 17, it's pretty smooth. The slide pretty much moves back and forth. You pretty much stay on target. The slide is super light, so you don't get much muzzle flip and felt recoil. This one has a little bit more felt recoil and muzzle rise. Let's look a little bit of a few shots on slow motion so you can gauge the amount of muzzle rise that you're getting on this gun. Let's take a look. So all that said, after I felt the texture, the mag release button, and the slide lock just digging onto my skin, I started to think about modifying my grip. And it didn't happen on that first visit to the range. That day I put 200 rounds through the handgun, and I had 2 more visits to the range with this platform. And on the second time, I was with my wife and we were shooting next to each other. She was shooting her P365 XL and I was shooting this one. I started to study my grip and I came up with, I usually when I grip a handgun, I have full contact of my support hand against the frame of the gun. What I did is I cupped it a little bit. I cupped my grip a little bit. I don't know if you can see that gap right there. I cupped it, and what that did is help me put more pressure in the front of my support handgun, the one that's holding your main hand. When I cupped it, the pressure that I'm putting towards the back of the gun increased, and the sights were pretty much staying on target. It will just come right back. Every time after a shot, the sights will be right in line again. So I started to like it, and I realized, okay, I'm not feeling the gun digging into my skin anymore. And this feels like a very sturdy grip, very secure, where the sights are just returning to the to be right on point. And I liked it a lot. And I realized that what I was feeling on this platform is avoidable through training. I know now that I want to carry this gun. Like I said before, I got it for concealed carry. Anytime I get a handgun, it's usually for concealed carry. It's nice that I can just throw the mag well and a comp and an optic on it and take it to a shooting match if I want to participate in one. But for concealed carry purposes, I had mentioned that I will acquire a flush fit mag, which I did. I have one right here. And the only important thing to mention about this one is that it only holds 15 rounds, but it goes and fits flush into the handle like that. So important thing to say, if you remove, you have to remove the mag well in order to use this flush fit mags. They're 15 rounders. That means you can carry 16, one in the chamber and 15 in the mag, but you have to remove the mag well, which for me works because, like I said, I don't want to be printing that mag well through my shirt. So the issue that I had with how it fell in my hands got pretty much deleted with just a little bit of adjustment of my support hand, and I ended up discovering that that adjustment helped me support the platform more steady and firm, and the sights kept just coming back. So by cupping my hand a little bit right there, the pressure in the front increases, and the recoil felt and seen as in the form of muscle rise is less. So I was really happy about that. The next thing that happened to me with this handgun is, like, I noticed when I aligned my sights, my hits were a little low. At first I thought it was me and I was flinching, so I started to really focus, and I think I even supported myself on my pickup truck or a ladder that I was carrying, put my hands on, and went really slow to squeeze the trigger while my sights were on, really slow. And no matter how much I supported myself, the shot was a little bit low. Let's say I was seeing my target right in front of the front post, and the shot felt like it was like right down here. Well, I went back to the manual and read about the adjustments to the rear sight, which has windage and elevation adjustments, as you can see right there. And there are the screws right there to adjust windage and elevation. I worked on that, and I was able to move my shots exactly to the point of aim, point of impact once my sights are aligned. Let me tell you something. I was shooting the same hole, like that scene from that movie where Will Smith is just shooting targets and he's just digging on the same hole. It felt just like that. Like I destroyed, I built a hole like this on the target from just nailing the same. So the gun, once you adjust the rear sight, if it needs adjustment, if it didn't come perfectly adjusted from the factory, is surgically accurate. So accuracy has a 10 of 10. Any flaws in accuracy is user's fault, but the gun is extremely accurate. That's with any gun, but that brings me up to my next point of this gun, which is the trigger, because it's such a crisp and light trigger that's why when you press the trigger, you don't mess too much with the gun. Like, let's say for instance on a Glock, the Glock has a harder, a little bit heavier trigger, especially when they're new and they're not properly broken in through thousands of rounds. The more you interact with that trigger, the more pressure you have to put, the more you can move the gun, and you might feel that they're not as accurate. It's not that they're not as accurate, it's that you're moving it a lot because of the trigger. So this trigger is so easy. I even worked on a drill that consists of a full magazine, and every time you shoot, you pull easy to the back. Once the explosion goes off and it resets, you try to stay on the wall. So your finger is always on the wall. Sorry, it has a magazine in. And when it comes back, you're supposed to stay on the wall. What happens sometimes with a Glock or another similar handgun is that you're going to have a negligent discharge. Of course, you're at the range, you're pointing on the safe direction, so it doesn't matter. But when you're working the wall, you're working on staying on that wall. You pull easy, boom, goes back, you're on the wall. Easy, boom, goes back, you're on the wall. Easy, boom, goes back, you're on the wall. Every now and then you try to be on the wall and boom, another one discharges, and is that you just put too much pressure on the trigger. That happens to me with a Glock, and it did not happen with this one. It's a lighter trigger. I don't know, I think it's just you have to interact with it so little that when you feel that reset, you can just stay there. And you just basically touching the trigger, because a few more pounds and it goes off. So I was really happy with how accurate it was, and I know that a lot has to do with it. A lot of that has to do with the trigger being such a nice crisp trigger. I think it's called the, I always forget the name, something performance trigger from Walther. Anyways, next point, the barrel. An issue that I have had sometimes with other platforms is that the thread protector walks. It happened with this one, but just got loose. It didn't keep walking. Every time I will shoot 2 to 3 magazines, I'll remember to check the thread protector, and it was literally just like unlocked, and I would just have to do this. That's it. With the shadow systems that I used to own, the thing kept walking until if you didn't check it one time, I lost it, and it took one of my friends found it, because there was a few of us shooting that day, and we started sweeping the ground like with our eyes, just looking around. Finally, one of them found it, and I didn't catch it that day, but it had happened in the past that I had to come back a lot, like, oh man, this thing is really getting loose, I had to come back. With this one, when you get to the end, it always got off the end, but it was like a quarter of a turn, and then you literally just do this and you're back and tight. So I'm not afraid of losing it if I ever have to use it. If I ever have to use it, I expect it to be not more than 3 to 5 rounds max, but you never know what kind of situation you might be get involved in. And yeah, this thing is not gonna walk, you're not gonna lose it. Or let's say just a training day, if you're just training for a long time and shooting a lot, you're not gonna lose this thread protector. It'll come unlock, but all you have to do is just bring it back. And so this one actually doesn't bother me. It used to really get on my nerves to have that thread protector walk on the shadow systems, because I lost it once, because I had to re-screw it all the way. When I didn't lose it, it was so loose all the way to the end that it just became a nuisance. And I thought I either put a comp on this thing or I get a non-threaded barrel, which is what I ended up doing, getting a non-threaded barrel. That way I forgot about it. Anyways, next point, the plate for the optic. I ordered a plate from Walther, and I was pleasantly surprised that it came in like 6 days, 4 to 6 days. The plate was here. I thought, okay, I'm gonna forget about this, might be weeks, because I've heard that's been some people's experience, but it wasn't mine. The plate was here quick, and I ordered the one for the Holosun 507C or 407C, either one of those. Regarding going back to the barrel, for this platform, maybe I'll keep it like this. Maybe I'll get a non-threaded barrel and keep this one for whenever I want to shoot with a comp. I'm definitely going to get a comp with this and try it. Like I mentioned before, I got rid of a lot of the muzzle flip and the felt recoil just by cupping my support hand a little bit. That put pressure on the front of my hand, and the grip is the recoil, better said, is very manageable, and also the muzzle rise, you control it better, and those sights keep coming to be right on point. Last point that I would like to show you and talk about is once you chamber around, there is an indicator here. The extractor will protrude out and show a little red dot. Now, with my eyes not being what they used to be, I can barely see. I'm usually not wearing, these are just readers. I usually not wear them if I'm shooting. I just have regular glasses that don't have any magnification on them, so I can't really see that red dot. But the good news for this platform is that when you do a press check, you don't move the rounds in the magazine. What do I mean by that? Let me show you what happens with the Glock 17. This Glock 17 right here is loaded, okay, full mag. Take a look at the mag. I believe these are Federal hollow points. There's the rounds right there. Look what happens when you press check. There is one in the chamber, okay? So when you do a press check to see if there is brass there, oh yeah, we have a round. Look what happens to the mag. See how that round walked forward? Okay, that is something that is a little bit annoying, because every time you do a press check, okay, let's push the round back, because I don't want to induce a malfunction in the case I have to use it. Once I push the round back and put the magazine back in, then I holster it and I'm like, I'm ready to go if I ever have to use the handgun. Well, I have mentioned in another video about the Echelon that doesn't happen with the Echelon. The Echelon is what I carry right now. Right now I have it with a 17 round mag. Like I mentioned before, I carry full size most of the year, except in summer. I carry the 6-hour X Macro because it's smaller, but still feels like a full size, but it's definitely a smaller platform. So the Echelon has this capability that the slide has this little give that it takes nothing to push back, and it lets you see the brass inside. See right there, and the rounds don't move. Same happens with the Walther PDP Pro SD. You can do a press check, and then when you check your rounds, they haven't moved. Of course, this one is empty, but I was really pleasantly surprised that the rounds stay in place. So you can definitely do a press check. Oh yeah, we're ready to go, and holster confidently that you're not going to induce a malfunction if you have to use your platform. Anyways, guys, I have nothing else for you. Maybe I'll leave you with some more shooting. Take a look, enjoy, and I have really fallen in love with this platform. I like it a lot. I think I'm gonna start carrying it. I might even start carrying without an optic, even though I'm switching to optics in all my guns because these old dudes not what they used to be. But I feel very comfortable with the accuracy, and my eyes can definitely pick up those sights right there. I can see it. White on black works for my eyes. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy, and stay safe. See you soon. All right, time for a mag dump. 19 rounds, 18 and 1.